I want to thank you for joining me today. And before we get started, as always, all the messages that are released on this channel are my truth. That is exactly what it is, what it always will be, and that is my truth. Now, my truth consists of a bunch of experiences that I've gained clarity from, which ultimately took me back to the real me, which is truth. Now, I'm not trying to convince you that my truth is the gospel. However, my truth is the gospel for me. That does not make it the gospel for you, nor will I ever try to make it the gospel for you. By me being on this platform, I am simply placing breadcrumbs on a path that I have already walked. Now, if you find yourself on a similar path and you resonate with said breadcrumbs and you say, you know what, that's cool, I want to do that. That's cool. If not, that's cool as well. My purpose is to assist those who are ready to get out of their own way. So, today I wanted to talk about just heal. Carry your ass and heal. Now, this is something a lot of people avoid. And because it's painful, of course. When you're healing, you're revisiting that which hurt you to begin with, right? But the positive side is once you do this, if you do it correctly, you don't have to revisit this again. Also, when you're healing, you'll correct all these deficiencies in your life that you never knew were there. You'll correct these habits that you're doing that you have no recollection of why you even started these habits. Why do you think this way? Why do you move this way? You know, all these things came to me after I started to heal. And for a long time, especially being a man, you just taught to press forward. Don't complain, press forward. Oh, you got a boo-boo? You bleeding? Then it ain't hurt too bad. Keep going. that was my mindset. It was just keep going. That was it. Oh, I'm feeling a little off. Keep going. It doesn't matter. For a man, you're suppressing all these different energies and this, that, and the other. So you're never healing, and you're trapping all of this energy in your body. Women do the same thing as well, but men do it the most because we're taught that way. All right. So I had a lot of things trapped within me, which would have never been released had I not taken the time to go within and heal those things. So let me give you an example. So when I got married very early. So like I said in a previous, I want to say I was 19 or something like that. Too young, very young. So I was married for 4.5 years, right? And it was just extremely stressful for me, which is why I got divorced, right? So, because she had issues with every man in her past cheating on her. So she expected me to cheat as well, right? So she was doing things in her mind that would prevent me from prevent that from happening. So because she didn't heal, she put a strain on the relationship, right? Now, because of all those things that I had to go through, created trauma within me now. So when I got a divorce, I did not take the time to heal. I started dating and this, that, and the other. Then because of said trauma, I didn't want to go through that again. So then I apply a mindset. I'm just gonna have fun. I ain't sitting there trying to be with nobody. Blah. You know what I'm saying? You apply these different mindsets of protecting yourself is what you call it at that time. You call it protecting yourself. But really what you're doing is you're just blocking that energy within your body. You're trapping it in there and you're giving it a reason to stay instead of healing it, feeling that pain and releasing it. Oh, that sucks. I don't ever want to feel that again. I know what that feels like. The thing is to feel it. Okay, I know what that feels like. I don't want to feel that again. So the next person I'm involved with, I'm going to look for the warning signs that I didn't recognize this first time. That's all this is about, is healing. Once you heal, because of the healing process, I can rely on my judgment. I will say, as far as if when I do decide to start dating again, because the when I chose to heal and go within, I saw all of those things, all of those traumas, they resurfaced all the way from when I was married. Now you're talking about, was like I said, I was 19. Now I'm doing healing in my 40s. You see, that's a long time. And in that entire time frame, those traumas guided me in every relationship I had because I never healed them. So they were doomed to begin with because I always had that trigger within me. And as soon as someone I was dating tripped one of those tripwires, she was gone because I didn't heal that energy. Same thing with childhood traumas. When I retired, I went back home and I started healing these childhood traumas. The crazy part is I was very considerate to the family. I'm like, hey, I don't, because I understood, when as adults, stuff is just passed down to you, right? So you do what you know in that time frame, right? What you think is best. So I chopped it up as that. So I didn't put any blame or anything on all the stuff that I experienced growing up. But I started to heal these different traumas. And then what I realized is, oh, these traumas were inflicted intentionally. So because as I was healing the stuff that it was because I was healing those things, I wasn't making excuses for them anymore because I know why those traumas existed. So once I face those traumas, I'm not going to make excuses for why they existed, what happened with the other person. It's just there. Now we can move from that point. But once I started healing, it's when people try to do something, inflict more trauma on you or try to control you, you're not going to let that happen. It's just not going to happen. Why? Because you're healed now. This is why it's important to heal, because when I was walking around with all these different traumas, I was easily manipulated. If you know what those traumas were, you could manipulate according to those traumas. You see? So if you're healed, there's nothing for somebody to poke at and try to control you with those traumas, because certain traumas people would activate and then the program would just kick in. Then it's like automatic responses at that point. There was not a conscious response. Whereas now, if something happens, I'm going to respond to you consciously. Program is not going to kick in and you're going to get some automatic response that has been programmed within me. This is why it's important to heal, so you can escape having an automatic response. The beautiful part was when I started healing, and what I would do, one thing I would do to find out where I was at when you interact with people, right? This is how you can tell, but you have to be conscious to do this. When you respond to someone, right? And if you're conscious enough to be able to do this, what I would do is I would look at the responses. When somebody asked me a question, I would look at the response and I would check back. Like I would go back in meditation to see if I agree with what I said. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So I have to give you an example. Let's say I have a conversation with somebody, right? It's something triggered me, right? I have a conversation. This actually happened with one of my coworkers one time. We was having a conversation. She said something that triggered me from a previous version of myself, right? When it triggered me, the program in me took over, and those responses were not something that I believed in anymore. And I didn't even know I was making those responses until I went into meditation that day, and I went back and reviewed. What I used to do is I would review my day in reverse. It was just like a mental exercise to try to strengthen my memory and all this other things, right? So I would just review my day in reverse, and I could literally remember conversations and hear the conversations I was having with people. and I would review the conversation, and I was like, I don't believe, why did I say that? And it threw me off. And that's how I realized when you're triggered, it's like something just takes you away and because you're triggered. So it basically, it saves you, quote unquote, from experiencing that trigger. So it takes you away from that experience. The program takes over, so you don't have to experience it. Remember, because it's a bad thing. You considered it bad. It takes you away, and the program automatically responds, and then you pop back in whenever you pop back in. But that's how it happens. And you don't even, it's so instantaneous, you don't even realize that it's happening, right? So that no longer happens when you heal, because those triggers don't pull me away anymore. So it can't be manipulated like that. So it's very, very, very important to heal, because then that's going to remove that piece where people was able to manipulate you. Then you're going to be walking in truth because you're healed. You know what the truth is. You're not walking in truth when you're unhealed, because you have something within you that you believe is true that is not. So I'm going to leave that there, make it short and sweet, because I don't want to overload this message. But heal. It truly is the best thing you can do for yourself and everyone around you. And I'm going to leave that there. And as always, if you got anything out of this message, actually, just like and subscribe, and I will definitely check you in the next message.